Twitter. Hello, Instagram. And let's see, just want to make sure that my Facebook is public. 'Cause yes, it is. All right, let's close it. I can see myself. Yay! Alrighty, here we are. Hello, Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, and hello, Twitter, and hello, Instagram. So nice to be here with you again. And I have to tell you, I am really tired today. You can probably tell if you can see my face. I look really tired. And the reason I look tired, because I am tired, and it's because of my bad habits. I'm going to talk about in a minute. So, what's going on? So, the main reason I am tired right now is that I haven't been sleeping too great. I woke up at 4 in the morning thinking about stuff and had trouble getting back to sleep. But that might not have been so much of a problem if I had gone to bed earlier. And that is definitely a bad habit that I am working on. And if you follow my Substack or indeed my blog on my website, hadassahvitar.com, or my Substack, Hadass at, I think, substack.com. Not sure. Should make a banner sometime. But anyway, if you follow my Substack or my blog, and you can find both of them in the link in my bio if you're watching this live. Hello. If you're watching it on the replay, also hello. Say hello. Tell me where you are. Tell me where you're watching. But anyway, wherever you are watching this, live or on the replay, there's a link in my bio which shows you all of my things, including my Substack and my blog, which are the same content, just coming out in different times and going to different places. So you can choose one or the other, or indeed both, if you'd like to see the same thing twice. But I'm just telling you, they are actually the same content. So what did I write about this week? I wrote about bad habits. And I talked about that bad habit being basically dealing with the tired and wired toddler that lives in your head. Okay, I don't know about you, but I definitely have a toddler who lives in my head. And that may have to do with being kind of ADHD. I don't know. Maybe neurotypicals don't have toddlers living in their heads, but a lot of my friends definitely do. So I'm hoping that if you like my content and you follow me and you like watching my stuff, that you can kind of, even if you don't actually have a toddler living in your head, you can kind of imagine what it's like. And basically, if you've ever tried to put a real toddler to bed, who's tired and wired and absolutely intent on not missing any of the fun, then you know what it's like. They will scream and yell and throw a tantrum. And it's the parent's job to be patient, to redirect, to hold space, to be understanding, to be loving, and to be firm. You are going to bed. I'm sorry. Yes, we'll cuddle. Sure, let's read a story. Yes, I'll get you some more water. But we are going to bed. That is the process. And which stuffy would you like to sleep with? And etc. As you know, with toddlers, it's all about choices. At least with my toddlers, it was all about choices. Did you want to wear the red shirt or the blue shirt before you go to daycare? I mean, you are going to daycare and you are getting dressed. Those were not negotiables. But did you want the red shirt or the blue shirt? You get to choose. So agency is important. And it's no different when we're trying to break bad habits. So I'm thinking specifically about my bad habit of staying up too late. And usually what happens is that I also get into the sugar that I don't need, because you know how it is. When you're tired, your body craves sugar because that's. Also, I think it goes back to my childhood when food was love, and that is like a whole different thing. If you've ever found yourself wanting to stuff your face when you feel bad in order to do what Tony Robbins calls it, changing state. I'm less of a fan of Tony Roberts than I used to be. He didn't take hashtag Me Too very well. Too many of his buddies got caught up in that, but he has said some really good things. And the idea of changing state is an important one. You know, if you're in a situation and you find yourself in a certain, going a certain way, feeling a certain way, and you don't like it, you need to change your state. And a very common one that people do is they'll eat, okay, especially sweet things. And it makes them feel better because it changes their state. And Tony points out that, you know, there's other things you can do that will also change your state. You can get up and go for a walk. You can listen to music. You can call a friend. Lots of things you can do. It's funny how this is the gesture for calling a friend. I'm like, who holds a phone like that anymore? I actually do have an old landline, so I do have to hold it like that. But most of us we hold our phones like this, don't we? Anyway, plus we put them on speaker anyway, or we use headphones. But that's just a distraction. Did I mention I'm kind of ADHD, and especially when I'm tired, that gets even more so. But anyway, bad habits. So here's the thing is that if you have a habit that you don't like, okay, because if you're good with your habits, then that's fine. I mean, why would you change it if it's not bothering you? I mean, you may know that smoking's going to give you lung cancer and makes the people around you not like the way you smell and so on. But if you don't care about that, if that doesn't bother you, then go for it. What can I say? But if you actually want to make changes, the more entrenched a habit is in your life, the harder it's going to be to change because we are creatures of habit and we do things automatically. I cannot tell you, it's kind of scary how many times I've driven somewhere and I'm like, I have no idea how I got here. But my body knew how to drive and my habit knew where I was going, and it isn't always where I intended to go. I mean, it happens sometimes that you know, you just go in the way you always go in the morning. You're like, no, actually, today I meant to go somewhere else. It happens to all of us. So if that happens to you, don't feel bad. It happens to all of us. So the point is if a habit, and it's a habit that you want to change for whatever reason, is deeply entrenched in your automatic responses, it's going to be really hard to change. And that toddler in your head is going to kick and scream and sabotage everything you're doing. Trust me, I know my toddler is very strong willed. My real toddlers were too. Funny. But so, what do we do about this? So, there's this guy called James Clear who wrote a book called Atomic Habits, which can be very helpful for a lot of people. Um, I think he was a baseball player, something like that. It's been a while since I read it, but I remember the principle, and it was helpful for me at the time. Maybe I should dig it out again and try it again. The idea is to be incremental about it, redirect your toddler, and to replace one habit with another. You know, people who smoke very often they'll start chewing gum instead, which personally I think is almost as disgusting, but people do what they got to do, and sometimes they can move on from that to something else. A lot of us have this oral fixation. Um, you know, maybe we weren't breastfed as babies, maybe we didn't get enough oral stimulation, whatever it is. A lot of people want to do stuff with their mouth, whether they want to smoke, whether they want to chew on pencils or chew on their nails. I do that. I need to get my nails done. It's spring. I should go and get my nails done. And people are very fixated on getting their, you know, like I said, stuff around their mouth, and of course, eating and drinking. This is water, by the way, in case you were wondering. Do you like my cheetah? Yeah, sure. I have 3 different devices going here, so I have to go in different directions to show you my cheetah. So that's 2 things. It's the incrementalism, okay? So don't try to make giant, huge changes, because, you know, you only have so much elasticity in your mind. Most people, at least, only have so much elasticity. And so if you make a huge, giant change, you might do it for a day or two and then you're going to fall back. because it feels just too strange and uncomfortable. And there was a reason why you were doing that habit that you're trying to change, right? So, whatever need that habit was fulfilling for you, whatever change of state, and again to quote Tony Robbins, that habit was doing for you, you still need that. So that brings me to number two, which is replace the habit if you can. So some smokers will vape, not so great for you either. Well, apparently, I heard on the radio the other day that there's, in Canada at least, vaping has become hugely popular among like the 15 to 18-year-old set, which is really scary. And among adult smokers, like over 25 or so, very few of them vape. If they're going to smoke, they're going to smoke. But a lot of kids seem really be into vaping. So that's another bad habit. But thankfully, I don't really know much about it. I just know that a lot of kids seem to like it. But the point is that if you have a need to do something with your mouth, you can chew on a pen. Just make sure you're chewing on the right end, or your mouth's going to be all an interesting color. And there's lots of things you can do. I said there's a lot of smokers gain weight, partly because nicotine actually suppresses your appetite, but also because they want something to do with their hands and their mouths, so they eat, especially, little snacky things that will satisfy your touch and your mouth and your grazing and all the things. Trust me, I've been there. I actually used to smoke. I stopped smoking in 1991. That was a long time ago. And so I do have some understanding about, and that actually for me was actually cold turkey, but I wasn't addicted to the nicotine. But yeah, I did have some issues with oral stuff after that. Chewed on a lot of pens and pencils and so on, and gained some weight. That's how it is. It's not a terrible thing. But the point is, you have to be aware of that need that your bad habit is fulfilling for you. We don't do things for no reason. People in general, they don't do things for no reason. They may not always be aware of the reason. It might also maybe not be a good reason, but the fact is there is a reason, or there was a reason. Like, I'm sure you've heard the story of the roast in the pan. If not, I'm going to tell it to you, because why not? So this is a story about this little girl's watching her mother make a roast, and she does whatever it is. I'm a vegetarian, haven't made a roast in a very long time, but the point is, and then she cuts off the two ends. And the little girl says, "Why do you cut off the ends?" And she says, "I don't know, my mother cut the ends, so let's ask her." So they call Grandma. Grandma says, "I don't know, my mother used to cut off the ends." So great grandma's still living in the nursing home. They call her up and she says, "It didn't fit in the pan. My pan was too small for the roast. That's why I had to cut off the ends." So sometimes the reason doesn't make sense anymore. There's a lot of things that we do for reasons that used to be valid and aren't anymore. But the fact remains that human behavior generally has some reason behind it. And the same is true with these habits that you're trying to get rid of. There is or was a reason for them. So it becomes really important to, first of all, try and figure out what need this habit is fulfilling for you. And just as an example, for me, the staying up too late, I'm going on Twitter. It's really FOMO, and it's silly because generally speaking, I don't have an issue with FOMO, but I get kind of into that doom scrolling headspace. And to be honest, it's not a great mindset to go to sleep with. It's a great way to have bad dreams, don't you think? Following Twitter with all the doom and gloom and all the terrible things that are happening in the world. So I really have a lot of reasons to try and not do this. So there's that. There's just this rebelliousness, When we're little, our parents make us go to bed. And one of the great things about being a grown-up is that nobody can make you do anything. It's just, you made bad choices, you pay for it, but you get the consequences. You don't have a parent, telling you that, the consequence or giving you consequences beyond. You just deal with natural consequences. Just for example, I went to bed, I went to bed too late. I woke up at 4 a.m. for whatever reason, things on my mind, and now I'm exhausted. Hopefully, I will go to bed at a decent hour tonight. I am going to do my level best. Of course, I might be so wired now after doing this that I don't, but I am going to try. So, how do we get these bad habits away? So, if you're going to follow James Clear's method, and why not? It's a good method. And like I said, you're going to start by first of all figuring out what purpose it has. Secondly, you're going to make incremental changes. And you need to think also about your identity. For me, when I stopped smoking, I actually did make like a cold turkey cut, and that was a change of identity. Ooh, my Instagram is paused. Boo. Well, I'm sorry if you're watching on Instagram and you lost some of it. It will be on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and all the things. So sorry, Instagram. But where was I? Okay, so there was a change of identity. I became a non-smoker, but that was an unusual situation because I was going into a new relationship and I made a lot of changes to my identity all at the same time and just kind of got swept up in it. And by the time I came down from the euphoria of the new relationship and the new life, I was firmly established as a non-smoker. So that was just luck, if you will. But generally speaking, if I'm trying to change a habit like going to bed too late or eating too much sugar, that's also a bad one because I just know it's not good for me. My mother died at the age of 69 from complications of diabetes, and I'm 61 now. And my older sister has diabetes, thankfully much better controlled than my mother was at her stage because she's going to be 67 in August. Getting a little close to that age, but our mother was much sicker at 67 than my sister is. So please God, she will be around longer. But the fact remains that this is in our family. So really, I need to not eat too much sugar. I need to take care of my health. I need to sleep. I need to eat well and exercise. And thankfully, I am able to do all of these things. So I'm really grateful. But I definitely have some serious motivation going on there, having watched my mother basically die of diabetes. It's not a pleasant way to go. It's slow and not fun. So there's that. So this is more of an incremental thing. This is like I have a billion reminders on my phone. I mean, when you get to be too many, you just ignore them, right? But there's one that says, get off Twitter. There's one that says, time to stop working. There's one that says I should go and make myself some herbal tea. And I do usually go and make the herbal tea because I like it. And I do usually stop working no later than like 9 o'clock, unless, I've really got something going on. But I try to stop in time. And, and I'm drinking my tea. And that's when, the cravings come of like, ooh, there's ice cream in the freezer. Maybe there shouldn't be ice cream in the freezer, but the fact remains that there is because on Shabbat we enjoy the good things of life because it's important to not be obsessive. That's my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me on that. But I mean, I haven't smoked since 1991, so there are things that I just cut off cold turkey. Ice cream, not so much. Everybody's got their own choices in the matter. The point is, we need to work on understanding why we're doing something, putting in incremental changes, and making and replacements. And that's something that I'm working on because I'm thinking that part of the problem, again, is me sitting and going through my Twitter, which Twitter was always bad for this. And of course, now it's much worse with everything that's going on there. And so it's really going to slurp you in and chew you up and spit you out. And it's not a good mindset, as I said, for going to sleep. So I really need to, turn it off and read a book. I have a million books in this house. My husband teases me that every time the doorbell rings, it's probably a book. I've ordered. I do try to go to local bookstores, but sometimes you just have to order it. It's just how it is. So, anyway, coming up on 20 minutes. Look at that. When I started off, I was like, I'm so tired. I'm going to talk for 10 minutes and then stop. But there it is. I got carried away. So, as I said, if you're watching live, I am grateful. If you're watching the replay, I am also grateful. And I would love it if you would drop a comment or a message. There's a zillion ways to get hold of me. Again, if you look at my link in bio, my link tree, there's actually a number you can text me at. Full disclosure, that is not my personal number, but you can you can text me at that number and I will answer you. So there you go. So feel free to let me know how you deal with bad habits, what you think should be done with bad habits. Maybe you just love your bad habits and you have no desire to change, and that's great. But a lot of people do actually struggle with the things that they feel they could do better. And I have to tell you, I am not a fan of going around telling people that they're broken, especially this time of year. You know, in the Northern Hemisphere, it's spring, and the world is full of people telling other people, especially women, that there's something wrong with them. You know, summer bodies. Are you ready to be seen in a bikini? Remember there used to be this meme going around. It's like how to get a bikini body. Put a bikini on your body. Okay, I am not a fan of body shaming. I am not a fan of the whole, there's something wrong with you. Here, my magic potion will fix it. Full disclosure, again, I do use supplements. I do love my supplements and I do sell them. If you're curious, again, drop me a message. I'll be happy to tell you about them. I do believe in supplements for sure. What I don't believe in is body shaming and telling people that they're broken and something's wrong with them. So also with the bad habits, I call it a bad habit also somewhat because that does get attention, because um, we're so conditioned to think that we are bad, that our habits are bad. If you have behavioral patterns, if there are things that you do consistently that are not making you feel happy, as Marie Kondo says, if they don't spark joy, then it might not be a bad idea to consider doing something different. And that is where this comes in. So I would love to know how you tackle changing deep-seated behavioral patterns that don't serve you, that don't spark joy in your life. If you would like to talk with me about it, again, drop me a message. You can text me at the number that's on my link tree, link in bio. Shalene Johnson says that if you say link in bio, your views go down. So hopefully I haven't jinxed myself here, but there it is. I'm going to wind it up. Thank you again for watching, for being part of my world. I am very grateful that you are here, and I would love to have this conversation with you. So be well. Love you. Talk to you again soon. Next week, in fact. Bye. Stop broadcast. And now. And broadcast.